Hello and welcome to this week's Trader Hub Market Review. It's about 30 minutes after the weekly close. We're going to start here on the NQ. We missed last week, sorry about that, some scheduling conflicts. So last 2 weeks we saw the NQ come down to this previous resistance line that became support on the weekly. On the daily, you can see how that plays out. You can actually see that it lost a little bit of the low there, but it looks like it's gonna test and get up there. This right here wouldn't be a terrible short to take. Right here at 15,949, that would be a pretty decent short to take, and it might just get there here, or over the weekend on Sunday. But we see that it still looks for good continuation up. It could also come back down, but we do see higher before we expect lower. That's all for NQ. Let's look at the ES. ES came up to and tested this resistance here. We can change that right there to a tested line. We do have this support down here, and this was previously tested but now is gained, so we're gonna make that green and put a line on that one. This isn't a serious level here, but it is there. In the last 2 weeks we've seen ES kind of just pump. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, it's all just kind of been up. Little sideways there for the last few days, but we're right back where we're looking for price to be at to continue. From here, we could see this line here was a good short, so we could see a little pullback here. But either way, we still expect to see higher before we see down here. So just keep an eye on higher, and if you're looking to enter, you'd want to be looking down here in the 44s. Moving along. This is the Russell 2000, the small cap companies. You can see again, the last 2 weeks we closed above this major level, and it's kind of taken off from there. It is a little sideways this last week, but it's quite the move there in just a few days. Let's go back to the monthly real quick. So this level was already tested. We would expect to see this broken and gained. We would expect to see closes above this now, because it would be the third touch of it. We kind of expected it here. It failed, but it did find support down here. So that's why the higher low right here, from here to here is a higher low. This produced that. This is going to produce a higher leg up here. That's what we're expecting. It is feasible that it'd come back down to support before it would do that. That would be perfectly fine, but it could do that before or after it made those levels. Moving along to the Dow. So the last 2 weeks, this is the one that we really missed last week, and was very exciting. So last week we closed above this line, and we knew that it was pumping pretty good. So let's go ahead, do that. That's definitely support there as we see it. This right here, it hasn't had 2 closes, but it's gonna have 2 closes since that's far below the low of the day here. And then we're gonna make that guy green. So we would expect, if it came down, to hold that level or interact on that level. You could see wicks down to here, but we would expect to see holds here. Let's look at the daily. Daily was basically straight up. Here was last Monday. it closed above that level and just pumped. What I would expect to see is on the daily it comes down to that level and then keeps going. But the 34.5, that's actually 34.6 right there. That's a valid level too. So moving along to gold. We did get a little higher here, and then came back down. Let's look at this on the daily. It's going to look real good on the daily. So you see how defined that area there is. It did close above this line, so we will go ahead do that. So we will expect, and it did already come down here to the highs of the previous range. We would expect, if it comes down further, we would expect it to test the lows of that range. So that's why 1965 is the next level. But we will actually go ahead and do that for there. And I am going to add this in here. That would be the next level of resistance that we're going to experience on gold. And then moving along to oil. Let's look at the weekly. It's basically straight up on the weekly. We did call for 80 now that it held these lows, which we said were valid. But we weren't confident on it holding there. It did look like it could slide down to 58 and keep going. But right now, what we're seeing is this move up, and over the next 2 months, if we see this close in this area, we're gonna have that level gained on the monthly, which means that it's gonna come up here and test this area. So it'll go from the 75, 80 area over 100, 120. And that's what we're looking to see to produce that leg. We do show that this support line that was here, this was tested on the daily. We can actually move that back. I think that might have been red before I made it solid, and it did that because, well, it is technically tested there on the weekly. If you go all the way out to the monthly, it's not, which is fine. But we would only use a monthly like that on that level if it had already come up and is coming back down. So for now, we'll leave that tested on the daily. Moving along to the Dixie. We do see that it's made it to the resistance there at 101. It's actually 102. The high here is 102.042. So we did see that it didn't quite come down to our support that we'd identified there. That's perfectly okay. Sometimes you miss it. And it is helpful to go back and look at what support was held. And we see that it was just a little higher above there. But on the daily, it found that low, and it wasn't quite a double bottom. You can see how it did have a little action there, and it came back down, and it found support and continued up. We don't have confirmation of a new daily trend yet. We unfortunately wait all the way till there. So I'm gonna do this. So that's quite a ways to go until we see reversal on this. We see confirmation of this low being able to produce new highs. So a little spooky there on the Dixie. But yeah, that's how it is sometimes. Moving along to KRE. KRE absolutely pumped the last 2 weeks. Let's go back to the weekly, sorry. We did see it close above this level, which was the, and I'm gonna get rid of this real quick, but this had been the level. This is the last level it tried to use to pump. It didn't do that. It produced a new low. And so that's why right here, this level, which we can see is a major level because price has interacted with it. We see that this is the level that needed to be gained, and it's done that, and it's going for it. Excuse me. On the daily, we would expect to see it come back a little bit. Maybe not so far down as 44, but it certainly could happen. Wouldn't call that tested like that. But we do expect to see higher on KRE. I'm gonna go ahead and, that shouldn't be green. And I'm going to go ahead and adjust him just right there where he belongs. You can see why he belongs there because of here. It was the support that produced this all-time high. I believe that's all-time high. Yeah. And as well as on the monthly. So this is a monthly level that produced that all-time high, and then as price came down, it interacted with it. It lost it here, which turned this level into a fantastic short idea. You can see that, which eventually played out. And so that's why the people who shorted here are going to be looking for right here. So there's a good chance if we do see that happen, it'll be something like this. Not respective of the time frame. Ignore how long that is. But that's what we would expect to see because of this level that was lost. And that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed, please feel free to leave a comment and click the link in the description to join our community Discord, where we talk about our trading ideas throughout the week. Take care and see you next time.